Hi there, Mr. Blitzstein here. Hope this screencast finds you well. I'm going to hopefully walk you through the area formulas for rectangle, square, and triangle. I realize you may or may not already know these, but either way, I'm going to be as thorough as I possibly can be without going too quickly, and hopefully you can hang in there and, of course, ask questions as needed. I sent you a note-taking guide, which if you already printed it out, good thing to have it out now so you can take notes accordingly. That said, if you didn't want to use that or didn't print it out, you can take notes that makes sense to you as long as you have information down and you can in turn process it and apply it as needed. So a rectangle, as I'm sure you may already know, is a four-sided shape known as a quadrilateral. It has four right angles, and it's two pairs of sides, both of which are parallel and congruent. So in both these diagrams, both the top and the bottom are marked as congruent. They are parallel as well. The right and left sides are marked as congruent. They're parallel as well. And of course, every corner contains a right angle. And that's true in this rectangle as well. As far as the formula for area of a rectangle, that is length times width. So pretty much the one side times the other side. And you are done. As far as a square, again, I'm pretty sure you know what a square is, but it is a regular four-sided shape or four-sided quadrilateral. Again, regular just means all the sides are congruent or all the angles are congruent. So again, so you can use fancy words like equilateral and equiangular, but pretty much everything is the same. So every single side is the same size, and every angle is the same size because they're all 90s. And this is still a square. I know it's kind of rotated on its side, so it looks like a rhombus or a diamond, but technically it's still a square. Again, all the sides are congruent, and all the angles are congruent. They're 90 degrees each. As far as area formula for a square, it's just side squared. Quite honestly, it really is just length times width, but both length and the width are exactly the same, so it's a side times itself, hence being recorded as side squared. And our third and final formula for this set is for triangles. Again, pretty sure you know a triangle is a three-sided shape, but just to make sure. And as far as the formula for it, it is 1/2 of the base times the height. Now I showed you three diagrams here. Hoping the colors help as far as figuring out what the base and the height are. But please note, for all the heights, it creates a right angle with the base or where the base would be if it had to be extended. So in this case, right, the height is inside the triangle, create a right angle with the base, which in this case is the bottom side. In this triangle, just here to here is considered the base. But in order to draw a line straight down to it to create a right angle, you'd have to draw it outside the triangle and also extend where the base would have been. So the height is outside the triangle in this case, but is creating a right angle where the base would have been had it been extended. Okay, please note the base stops right here. It's only here to here. Base is just this side. We just needed to extend this so we could see where the height would have met it and created a right angle. For this triangle, the height is actually one of the sides that already exists because the right angle was there, and the base is not the bottom. I know a lot of you like to think base is being bottom, not necessarily. Depending on how the picture is situated or oriented, the base might shift as far as where it's located and how you think of it. Either way, in this one, this is the height, and this is the base, again, and they're creating the right angle. So we're going to try 6 practice problems. The first 3 will be relatively straightforward, and the latter 3 will be a little more challenging. Either way, I'm going to walk you through all 6 of them. So this one is dealing with the area of a square with a side length of 16, asking you to find it. So as far as getting the proper formula for a square, that is our formula. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my side of 16. Remember, 16 squares are not 16 times 2, rather 16 times itself. And doing that, you would get 256 inches. And again, it's square units, so it's inches squared. And that problem is done. Let's try another. This one's dealing with a rectangle, calling it rectangle QUAD. It's advising that you sketch it, so I'm hoping you do make a drawing. Again, don't worry about how perfect it is. It's just a sketch. Let's say go ahead and sketch it and label it properly, and let's see what it looks like. All right, so I got my rectangle here. Again, it doesn't be perfect, does the job. And yes, technically I could have put little right angles in here, but we already said it was a rectangle. It says sketch it. This is a practice problem. As long as you're aware that it would be right angles, that's good enough for us. That said, the formula for an area rectangle is length times width. So we're going to plug in our values of 12 and 8 and multiply them. Done. Let's try a third one. Okay, you're being asked to find the area of a triangle with a base of 12 centimeters and a height of 9 centimeters. So again, let's make sure we have our formula down. There's our formula for area of a triangle. We're going to go ahead and plug in our values of 12 and 9 as the base and the height. Now, as far as multiplying here, it is not of half of 12 and half of 9. It's either half of 12, and whatever that is, times 9. Or if you felt like it, it's half of 9, and wherever that is, times 12. But it's not half of both 12 and 9. It's not half of both the base and the height. It's half of one of them, then times the other. In this case, to me, it's a lot easier to do half of 12. So let's go ahead and do that as far as the order suggests. Half of 12 is indeed 6. And 6 times 9 is 54 centimeters squared. Sorry, that should say an equals. Sorry about that error. Let's try 3 problems that'll push your brain just a little. Give yourself a chance to look at that. All right, so we got 2 squares that are side by side, and you're being given the areas of both of them, but being asked to find x. Well, it looks to me like x is kind of like this entire one of these sides, one of the blue sides, plus one of the red sides. So if we can kind of find one side length of the blue square and one side of the red square, we might be able to find x. So why don't we start with the blue one? Well, the formula for area of a square is a side squared again. This one just means I'm dealing with this square one, the one that has no real mathematical meaning. And side squared would have got you 144. Well, tell you to take the square root on both sides. Some of you might have that number memorized, which is great. Either way, the square root of 144 is 12. Let's try that same thinking for this other square. We know the area of this square is 100, so you're doing the square root of it, but again, some of you might know this in your head. Because what times itself gets you 100? Well, hopefully it's 10. So we now know one of the sides of the red square, and we know one of the sides of the blue square. And being that they're squares, we know all the sides technically. But, all right, so that bottom side for the blue square is 12. Bottom side for the red square is 10. How do we get x? Well, hopefully you would add them together, and you would get 22. Let's try the next one. Give it a read first. Okay, it seems like we're dealing with a rectangular yard, and there is a flower bed inside that yard. And it didn't say, but we're going to go ahead and assume that flower bed is rectangular. To me, this screams drawing a picture so you can see it. If you can visualize it, great. I'm happy for you, but still might be smart to draw. I would spend 5 years drawing in every blade of grass and flowers, but you do what makes sense for you. Either way, here's my beautiful drawing. Got the big backyard being 23 by 18, and I have the flower bed inside of it being 6 by 9, leaving us with all that green grass around the flower bed. As far as where you put the flower bed, it's really up to you. As long as you have it inside the rectangular yard, you've done your job. But it's dead center in the corner, that's irrelevant. As long as you more or less have this picture, you're good to go. So now our thoughts got to be, how are we going to get just that green space, just that green area? Well, here's an idea. Let's get the area of the whole entire yard, this big rectangle. Then we're going to get the area of just the flower bed and take it away, leaving us with just all that green space, the area of the grass. Alrighty, so the area of the yard, well, that's the big rectangle. So that should be getting length times width because it's an area using 23 and 18. Okay, so that would have been the area of the yard. As far as the flower bed, that's a smaller rectangle, but it is a rectangle, and it's 6 by 9. So to get the area of that, we got to do 6 times 9, or 9 times 6. That gets us 54. As far as finding the green space, area of the grass, that should mean subtraction for us. There you go. All right, let's do one more, and this will be our last one. This one is dealing with area of a triangle. Excuse me. That said, we're being given the area of the triangle. We're being asked to find, it looks like, the height, but the base was indeed provided. So let's write down our formula, which is hopefully 1/2 base times height. Let's put in the values that we were given. So we were given the area and we were given a base, or the base, I should say. So I'm going to put those numbers in where they belong, leaving us with height being unknown, which is what we have to find. Like I was saying before, this is not saying half of both the base and the height. It's saying half of one of these and then times the other. So being as that we have the base, I'm going to take half of the base. So half of 7 is 3.5. Now it means 3.5 times something gets us 84. Well, if you divide by 3.5 on both sides, you should get 24, meaning the height is 24 feet. Hope you're feeling okay and that you can handle these things. Either way, please let us know if you need us help, and we'll be happy to help you. Take care.